moving from stress into what's called restraint and then into stillness. And so this week, a lot of the energetic themes we may see are impulsivity, stress, causing us to rush things, causing us to get impatient, causing us to maybe speak out of turn, speak too soon, take actions out of an emotional state rather than from the essence or the energy of restraint. And restraint isn't about holding back on desires, holding back on wants or needs, it's not about denying yourself what you need or want. It's not about denying how you feel. With true restraint in this gene key, what we're actually doing is saying, let me listen within, let me get still, let me be here now. Because when I am in the now, when I'm allowing my body to fully listen and to process, when you begin to enjoy that stillness in the present moment, that is when your intuition can actually spark an insight of here's what's meant for you to do, to be, to say here right now. And so when we are working with the energy of restraint, we want to be mindful of what the moment is calling for from us. And you'll see this theme in the gene keys as we go through the energy transits week after week, because in essence right now there are going to be different ways that these show up in terms of the collective, and yet they're going to be like threads that weave themselves that all of these have in common. And it's all about the frequency with gene keys, right? It's all about where we are acting from, what energy are we in as we act. And so this week, watch for, again, impulsivity, a desire to do things right now, to have an answer on something right now. Watch for the energy of like almost like things you've been waiting on. You might almost feel like, okay, now's the time, because this gene key has a lot to do with the frequency of timing. And has something been well thought through? Have you been kind of, sprinkling the seeds in the soil, giving them the time they need to germinate and to grow? Or are you trying to force something to bud before it's ready? Are you trying to force that cake to come out of the oven, like cranking up the heat on it, right? Going, well, maybe it'll just cook faster. Well, it's going to get burnt around the edges and it's going to be soggy in the middle. And we never want to eat a half baked cake. This gene key is all about knowing that there's a divine timing. The watched pot never boils, right? And not allowing stress to cause us to do things in the moment that might be chaotic or contributing to chaos in ourselves or in the world around us. So this is a big week where, especially for those of you who have gene key 52 or have gate 52, also the other gates that kind of come to mind is gate 20 or gene key 20. Gene Key 20 is all about the power of the now. And so when people have gate 20 in their chart, or have it undefined, you have to be really, when it's undefined, you have to be really careful, because you might be susceptible to picking up pressure from the world around you. Anyone who has an undefined or open root center in your human design, really, really watch for that pressure to come up, to succumb to the stress of the moment or the stress or anxiety of other people and what they want. They want it now. They want it now. They want it now, right? Now, the flip side of this is the person who's endlessly waiting, who hasn't learned how to ground within their breath and use their breath to bring them back into the divine timing of the moment. They're not anchored, they're not centered, they're not grounded here and now, right? Their head is all over everywhere else. And so they're endlessly waiting. It's as though they want everyone else to do the work for them, or they're waiting for some sort of divine sign. And even though they keep getting signs, even though they keep having an idea, and even though they keep intuitively getting a message, or they're told, hey, we need to have a decision by this time and you have plenty of time to make it, but the deadline's coming. It's almost like they're always waiting. They're always waiting for life to just drop things off at their doorstep. And that's not always how life works. So they end up in this endless waiting. And it's like life just keeps going on around them. And what I'm seeing is someone sitting in an armchair or in a rocking, not a rocking chair, but like a lazy boy. And they're just sitting there and they're rocking and they're waiting and they're waiting and they're waiting and they're waiting. And around them, their children are growing up and things are happening and the furniture is changing and updating as each decade and each generation goes on. And this person's just sitting in this lazy boy waiting for life to give them enough signs, waiting for life to bring them enough cues and enough clues. And instead of going, I need to be here now and take action or speak or enjoy life from the beauty of the present moment, what they're actually exercising is not restraint. It's actually the flip side of stress. They're so stressed that they're frozen. They're so stressed that they can't seem to do anything at all. So we have to remember the shadow side of this state is not just the fight flight response, it can also be the freeze response. And now we don't want to really operate out of any of these, but sometimes these states propel us forward, though we might end up right back where we started from if we're acting from the wrong states, right? We're not actually accomplishing as much as we want. And the image I keep seeing is the duck with its feet going under the water. It looks calm on the surface, but its little feet are going, trying to get it to where it needs to go, right? So rather than feeling like we always need to navigate and force everything, feeling like we need to force timing, feeling like we need to force outcomes, make things happen. This energy is all about practicing restraint and almost like a divine becoming. It's like we're witnessing. And as we sit in the present moment and listen, just really listen to the stillness around us, that is when your clairaudience will turn on. That's when you will begin to hear the divine guidance. That is when you will begin to hear more in depth. That is when you are going to actually receive downloads and knowings and visions. And then from that rested space that you're in, when you practice restraint or practice stillness, you will know exactly, here's where I need to go, what I need to do, what I need to say, and to whom. Because all of a sudden, it's like you can hear the deeper harmony of the world and the universe around you, and you become kind of a vessel for things to work in the way that they need to, versus trying to force and initiate tasks or complete tasks or make things happen in some sort of your own imagined timeline. And if you've ever been the victim of someone who's operating out of that, you know how frustrating it is and how difficult it is, because these people seem to have endless demand, endless need. It's like they have an itch that they can't scratch. So, for this week, watch for restraint to be given to you. And again, restraint again is all about telling yourself, take a breath. Everything happens in right timing, and my job is simply to receive and to watch for what the moment is calling for from me and make a conscious choice about where I am to meet the moment, what the moment is meant to receive from me. What do I need to bring to the moment? What action is needed from me? This week, you might see a lot of opportunities for divine timing, for divine action. You might also see other people acting impulsively, acting out of stress, and you may have to be the one practicing restraint, or vice versa. You may feel the pressure. You may feel the pressure to perform, the pressure to speak. You might feel that pressure to keep up with the Joneses, or to speak out of turn, to speak too soon. And you might notice yourself doing that. Remember, act with compassion toward yourself and others, because it's all about just learning how to meet the moment in this. It's not about getting it right all the time. We're not going to get it right. We're humans. We're inherently flawed. This is how we are. That's part of the beauty of our being. And that's what this energy this week is going to reveal. And now I made some clock app posts about this as well. But we are seeing this in some of the things that are coming out and happening this week. Like, for example, a very popular tarot reader who had a huge following, was mentioned in a Paramore song, even very recently in the last couple years. This tarot reader decided to quit tarot very suddenly and said that they have found God and that they are moving into Christianity. And now I'm not going to comment on right, wrong, good, bad. That's their journey. And that is not for me to say what's right for anyone. How are we supposed to always know what's right for someone? Also, as a psychic and an intuitive and channeler, it's not my job to read other people when they haven't given permission. And that is something where we are seeing, again, a practice of divine restraint, knowing where I end and you begin, knowing what's yours and what's not mine, right? This is not mine to judge, to hold, to practice. Where I have seen this gene key really rearing its head already is in the divine timing of everyone around this person and people who have parasocial relationships with this person who don't know them, right? And like I was like, most of these people don't know this person intimately. They don't know the depth of what they've gone through. They don't know anything about this person, and they're commenting on it. And that is showing their lack of restraint. That is showing their stress response, them feeling the collective stress. They're feeling their own stress. They're feeling their own judgment, and it's provoking something in them where they feel like they need to go on the internet and judge or speak on this person's experience when they know very little about it because they don't know that person personally. And it's very likely if they knew them very personally, they wouldn't be saying shit on the internet about them, right? And so, what we are seeing here is not just about this person's decision, for example, it's about the people that are commenting who are falling victim and falling prey to that lower frequency of stress as this gene key shows itself and rears its head. Then we're also seeing people who are talking about this person's decision and then they're making it about themselves. Like they're like, well, when I went through this, here's what I was feeling, blah, 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 blah. That's really common. As someone who's a 1-3 profile in human design, I often will relate to things through my own story, through my own experiences. I'm meant to collect experiences and then teach from my experiences. And at the same time, we have to exercise, again, restraint and knowing maybe this isn't my time to share my story. Maybe this person leaving tarot and going on their own journey, whether we think it's right or wrong, right? Whether there are certain things happening or not, it's not an invitation for everyone else to share their own story and to capitalize on it, right? And so that is where I'm seeing that lack of restraint. People being unable to leave the lower frequency of me. And here's what I think, and here's my judgment. And oh my God, I knew it. And I think a lot of people are losing that perspective of would you want anyone else to speak this way about yourself if this was you? Right? It's not our place to be like looking at someone else's journey and judging them. We have no idea what different people are going through. And that's where this gene key will show up is where are you able to act with restraint? Because true divine restraint in this gene key requires groundedness, patience, inner clarity. And if you're acting impulsively, you are not speaking from clarity and compassion. Compassion, recognizing that we are a collective we, that we're all connected. And therefore, we don't need to shame, judge, feel attacks on one another, etc. That's always going to come out of an energy and create more of an energy that we don't really need in the world. And so, again, that's just one place we might see this showing up this week is that impulsive action. And the irony of which is this person who quit tarot and had a really big presence online and stuff like that. I did watch their video and they actually sounded like they had really been talking about and thinking about this for quite a while. And this transit, this energy just gave them the opportunity and the right timing to do what they have been feeling they needed to do. I can't speak for them personally, but after watching their video, it was clear to me this was not an impulsive decision. So actually, they've exercised quite a lot of the gift of restraint. And the people who aren't exercising it are the ones going on the internet and kikiing publicly about them when they don't know them. So I wanted to put that out there because that's the very first example I saw of people kind of where this gene key in the shadow state and then the what we would call a higher state or gift state. I call it exalted state of this gene key is really showing up. And so if this gene key is really prevalent in your gene keys chart, take a look, see where it shows up and what spheres it shows up because you're likely going to pop up and down in this. It may be a great week for you to contemplate stillness and what does it mean to be in stillness for you or for others, to start to step into that energy. And notice where you need to exercise restraint this week, to wait for right timing, to wait for the energy to line up, right? Because remember, with this gene key, a lot of times the seeds are being planted, but it's not always time to act. We can't force a seed to sprout and bloom before it's ready. It's got to take the right amount of time. You don't want to take things out of the oven and eat them when they're undercooked, right? We want to give things that time that they need. And restraint, this gene key, this gift of this, teaches us how to feel for that right timing. And right timing, again, requires that we say, I understand this stress is here, this stress is felt, this tension is there. That doesn't mean I need to act impulsively from it. So I wanted to put that out there. Also look at, in your human design, do you have this gate defined or undefined? Because that's going to tell you how this gate operates for you and how it might be showing up for you and how you might be experiencing it more than normal this week. And again, even if you don't experience it directly, it's a great opportunity to contemplate it. In terms of the gene keys, you can go get free profiles on the genekeys.com website. You can also get free human design profiles everywhere. And Richard Rudd, for each of the transits, go and look on the Gene Keys profile because he has audio contemplations that during each transit, they put them on there for free. And so during that transit, so this 6 days, you get to listen to that contemplation for free. It is so grounding. His voice is so soothing. So just wanted to recommend that you guys go and listen to that. I've listened to it twice today and I was like, it's like a breath of fresh air. So wanted to offer that up. If you want a personal chart reading, I can do that. And I also will bring in guidance from the guides from the teams of light and wisdom and fun and merriment on the other side who can come in and read your chart for you and also give you some messages from them about things that you might need to pay attention to as well in this lifetime. All righty. All of my links are up in my bio. And thank you all for listening.